I said that word.
I don't know what word you said. Nobody cares what word you said. Pulling us back
Unionize.
to the combat screen.
The most hated word in America.
No, that's not true. I'm from New England. We invented unions. No, we didn't. It came from England. And we are actually very pro-union here. So, unfortunately, Massachusetts has bad unions, the ones that make unions look bad, but we also have very good unions. But if you hear of union strikes, unless it's teachers, you're listening to Massachusetts. So, we have a ton of unions here. Like some of our unions, without tangenting for too long, one of the issues that we have for the greater Boston area, we have a union for cement, for concrete. I can't remember the name of it, but it's specifically for like people that lay concrete. And because like we have contracts with that union, we have to use concrete for a certain amount of construction, even though concrete is now becoming an inferior method of construction. We, by contract, have to keep using it. And it's just like, we can move on to, like, we can take the same union and have them do a slightly different job that is way cheaper for everybody involved and make things way better. But they're like, no! We are contracted to do exactly this job. I refuse. You're telling me I have to walk 10 steps forward and 2 steps back? Well, I usually walk 10 steps forward and 3 steps back. And God damn it, it is my American rights to walk only 10 steps forward and 3 steps back. Whatever it was.
They're probably mob run.
It's like, yeah, well, it's Boston. Do you know who Whitey Bulger was? Moving on.
I do.
So, turn the music down so we can actually focus on the game. Let's go. So you, I'm just showing the map right now so you guys can see that the Free Folk took 2 steps over. The Vroga's army came down as well. The rioters of Wherein got down there pretty quickly. And then, even though Vroga's army is moving slower, you guys can actually move much quicker than this because you're actually in red. And this is only 3 hexes, I believe is what you guys can move normally across like pretty open terrain. There's a bit of woods there, but unless you guys were walking with an army, I would say you'd get there ahead of everybody else anyways. So you finally get to the actual camp, the camp outside of Vigil. You finally get to like where the greater camp is. And you can see they're literally digging out a camp. Like, they've gone to the area. They've dug up some of the grounds. They've actually cut down a bunch of trees. They're laying up posts and whatnot. They're actually building themselves a legitimate camp. One of the things that, even though you guys were like, oh, just settle up over here. No. Your general is like, yeah, what if our army gets attacked? We need to be prepared to hold them back, keep our wounded and whatnot behind the walls, have a place to fall back to. We need positioning, right? So he's literally chopping down trees. You can imagine Edric has gone completely bald from ripping his hair out because usually doing this sort of a thing utilizes resources that maybe you guys don't necessarily have. But, trust in thy general. When you guys arrive at the camp, there's many things that we need to go over. But first and foremost, you need to meet with the general himself. So meeting with the general, you can see that not the center of the camp, actually, in what is central, but more to the south and to the east is where it is that he currently is. It's not the perfect location, but it is a bit higher up on like a bluff that oversees the lake by it and can kind of oversee the area nearby. You know what I mean? Just kind of gives them like more of a vantage point. You can also see as you're arriving there, they are literally erecting a probably about a 25-foot ranger tower that is over on that bluff as well. So there's more of a vantage point to see outwards from there as well. They're working on this. When you go to meet with the actual general, he doesn't meet you in the tent. He's way more respectful than that. He goes outside of the tent and meets you there because he hears that you're coming. And so you're coming up to the massive tent that he has there. Imagine about the same size as the one that the Hetman's tent just was. But obviously much newer, much less traveled because you guys literally just recently constructed this stuff. He stands outside the tent waiting for you. And so as you approach, he of course gives his appropriate salute and bow to the 3 of you as you arrive. And of course you're welcome to speak first. You are the chosen.
Well met, General. How have things been here?
Did you say, sorry, I'm now that you're chewing the whole time and I apparently didn't want to interrupt me. You wanted to go to Kurzfall, not to your army?
It's fine, we can do that in a bit.
No, if you wanted to do that, let's put a pin in this.
No,
And
it's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry about it, dude.
nope, we're in Kurzfall actually. All that other information, lock it in your head. Now I'm seeing it in chat because you're not.
Is that what you wanted to do, Jake?
I thought we were
can.
dropping boxing off on the way. That's what I thought.
Nope,
we were
nope.
doing.
You guys are right. So you actually don't get there this day.
But I mean, to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, we're chill, Scott. Do whatever you want, mate.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So
Our assholes are spread, ready to get our 30 seconds of direct sunlight.
oh god, that was a weird thing that somebody posted in Discord. Moving on, let's just move away from that, please. So actually, that's day one gets you there. So that's 1 day of travel. So it's actually 2 days of travel to get back to Kurzfall, unless you guys really push yourselves, which you wouldn't because you have somebody you don't want a chance of being able to get away. You bring yourselves back to Kurzfall. In your city, one of the things that you notice is that the rioters of wherein are there. Somewhat inside the city, somewhat outside of it. Technically speaking, they shouldn't be able to be stabled here without stables. But they're making do with the aid of Verin and Leshev at the moment. They're making do with what they have.
Do they all wear masks of Rayrin? A flag with on their back like winged hussars, but with Rayrin's face.
Never mind, we're back with the army. So in Kurzfall, you of course it's kind of a skeleton crew here. Aside from the army that you have, most of the peoples that have joined, that have been conscribed or volunteered, are going to be in the army and head south. So your city is as emptier than it has been in a long time. A long time being months because you're super new. And granted, your town's total populace only about 2,000, and a bunch of them are missing. So of the people that are still here, of your leadership, Edric would stay here. And Arthur, for now, would stay here. The rest of your leadership is gone. Obviously, the three of you, we'll say Val went to the army. The three of you...
Really? Elia and Lander de Bellum.
Yep, they both have gone south with the army. Oh, shit. Yeah, sure. because Lander would be consular, so he'd be kind of the go-between between you guys and Vigil. He would also handle any other communications with the other towns to make sure that the leadership of those towns are appropriately handled in a nice way. It would also speak to the people down there. I understand he's not sorry, Arthur handles the leadership. My apologies. Who did I say stayed?
You said Arthur.
My apologies. Lander would stay. Arthur would go.
Cool.
And Elliot would definitely go as well.
No,
Edric
I need
would stay.
your +8 to economy. God damn it, Elliot.
So, you guys make your way back there. My apologies. Lander and Edric are here, as well as nameless ones. So you come walking in. You know, of course, like you're announced that they're there. The two of you then would come meet with you with time. But first, you go to your prison. You head down to the cells. You have, of course, nameless guards down there, and you have Mother down there, not Father. How do you approach the situation? Didn't you bring Father with the army down to right outside of Vigil?
He went to Vigil.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
So how do you approach the situation?
He needs to be stabled properly in a cell, and I would also have him chained while in the cell. At which point his mother can come through to visit him.
I imagine you chain him up. There's a little bit of an exchange. It's none too pleasant, but it's not like super aggressive. He's just none too pleasant. Yep. I imagine you want to actually RP with the mother when you see her. So when you go into the mother's cell, you can see that she's sitting there and looking at you pensively. She does not have a quill in hand. She does not have a book open.
Lady Alif.
I heard a voice in the halls.
Raymond would sit down. You did. I would say the voice is rather unpleasant. At least to me. You've kept your end of the deal so far. You have done well. I would want to do right by you and keep my end of the deal.
She doesn't say
Your
a word.
son fought us on the field of battle. came looking mostly for you, as I understand it. We played a rather dishonorable trick on him to get him alone. In the end, however, we still fought his army and captured him. He is alive and well, if a little battered. At the moment, he's chained in his cell. You're welcome to visit him if you would like. However, I warn you that he may view you as a traitor.
She shakes her head. He would never.
If you do not mind, I would also be present for this meeting. If you request it to not be me, you can have several guards in position.
I care not who's there. I just want to see my son.
This meeting time will be limited, but should the meeting go well, I will see that you are allotted an amount each day. Under guard.
She nods.
Just see Jay going, oh, fucking. Wherein will inform the guards. Take her from the cell, escort her to the young Belteran's new cell. As she is guided, he would say, you'll see that his accommodation will not be as pleasant as yours. The more cooperative he is, the more reason I see fit to equip him with amenities befitting his rank.
Not while we're not here, Rogan. I fear the mother already has enough access. She could slip in something we don't know. I feel like he needs to be watched by more than just the regular. He is safe. That is what you agreed with her. He's not going anywhere.
Very well. Perhaps we will need to discuss the terms of visitation, but you can ascertain that he is safe. In motion.
I just care to see him. Can I go see him?
If you do not mind, I would have the guards pat you down. A simple check. I would rather not you thrust a quill into his neck.
She's just like shocked, and her mouth is agape, like at the suggestion. Like she, as you're saying pat down, she already started going into motion to allow. But then when you say that, she's like shocked that you would say that. The guards, I imagine, immediately go over and start like patting her down. They search her over. Just for safety's sake, you can roll a perception check for them. You imagine that they're thorough. So unless you're taking 2 whole minutes, you would roll a 1d20 plus 4. 5, sorry.
Take the time.
/ roll 1d20. Yeah, why not? They can just take a 20, can't they?
That's an awkward 2 minutes.
Like
You gotta be thorough.
Yeah.
Okay. So taking a 20 does mean that, of course, and I don't mean this in a gross way, but they're obviously going to be very hands-on, making sure they're checking everywhere to make sure there's nothing there. But you more or less just one of those, you give the commands, check her thoroughly, and so they do so. And once again,
No cavity checks going on.
yeah, of course, like let's not be gross, but so they do check her, very thoroughly. And again, she seems a little like this is extra time from her son when she heard this voice or whatever. She seems a little upset, but doesn't say anything. Just you can see that there's a bit of a crossness in her eyes, but she never says anything to be offensive. Never has since she's gotten here. After you two have come to a degree of terms. And after the final 2 minutes pass, they say it's all clear. She looks at you and she says, again, the most snippy she's been since you guys have come to a degree of terms. May I see him now?
Of course.
Raven, we will, of course, accompany her. Correct?
I agree.
When you guys say that, she actually goes walk past you. I wouldn't say push past. She's not like shoving or anything like that. But she just goes to move past you to go out and like into the
she's
hallway.
a mom who can't contain any more delays.
Correct. And she's been in this hallway many times beforehand, so it's not like it's strange by any stretch of the imagination. But she does kind of walk around you guys and look about and clearly can see which cell it is and goes over. You have two other prisoners currently.
One would stand in front of her, not let her pass, and he would walk first.
So she would kind of go to move it, and you would just step in the way and give her like that hold on look, and she will literally like actively like stop and have to like roll back onto her heel, and like you could see she actively
still remembers
like
one.
She actively bites the inside of her cheek.
But...
Yeah. And again, you can see she actively like bites the inside of her cheek or whatever. Like she's really trying to hold back here. And then you go and you lead the way over to where the cell is. The door's shut, of course.
Oh.
Do you open it?
I'm gonna look in the cell first. He's chained up, is he?
Yeah. And there's a guard in there too.
Okay. We'll open the door.
You open the door, and this is the first time she would actually try to push past you. It's like push by to move in. Do you stop her or anything, or no?
Half-heartedly.
I think Rerum would just place a hand on one's shoulder. He wouldn't like push or interfere. He just places like a.
Yeah. So if it was already a half-hearted grab, I imagine he lets her go, and she moves in there, and moves past, and she rushes over to him and says, "Beltran," and then he turns and looks at her, and you can see like immediately his face like grows suspicious. And then she like goes over and kneels to him and like places her hands on either side of his face and says, "Belle, is that you?" And he looks at her and says, "Your trick worked once before, you filthy slog. It's not going to work again." And her response is, "I don't know what they did to you. They said it was a filthy trick. They said that, but it is me." And you can see he like looking more cross, like you can see that like fire in his eyes, like he wants to act out. And you can see that she looks concerned for a second, and then she like takes a breath and she starts humming what you can imagine is some sort of like a nursery rhyme or something like that, a song that maybe she said to him when he was younger. She starts humming some sort of a song. It takes like another second and a half for him to recognize what she's doing, and then he just starts to soften up and he looks at her and says, "Mommy, is that you?" And she nods like a little tense, and then you can see his eyes like redden and start to well up, and she grabs him and pulls him in and gives him like a big hug and whatnot. And she's like, "I was so worried for you when I heard that your army was going to face theirs." He's like, "As soon as I heard news came to me that they had you, I grabbed up what soldiers I could and I came immediately. I honestly expected them to be inbred morons. I didn't expect them to have a force." And she's like, "I've told you a million times before, and I'll tell you again. You're a brilliant man. Never let your heart get the better of you. Always use your mind over your heart." And he nods. He's like, "They had you. I couldn't wait any longer. I made whatever plans I could, and it came immediately. You getting out was the most important thing." She nods. She's like, "I understand, but things are a bit different. They don't have to go." And he looks at her and he's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "There's so much time for us to talk. What's important is that you and I are together, that you're alive." And he nods and he's like, I'm glad to see you, Mom. I'm glad to see that you're okay. Where's that piece of shit?" He says, like looking past her and over towards the other two.
As he looks over towards us, he sees his mother standing next to Raren.
He sees the mother standing there.
Raren doesn't hide the disgust on his face.
And one starts humming that tune, the best of his ability, in her own voice.
Roll a performance check or whatever it is then.
You mean a bluff?
No. Performance is bluff is for the voice. Performance is for the actual humming.
I have no things in performance.
Let's get still.
Where is that? Where is it? I had a -1 to it, so this will be fun.
So you probably in her exact voice, but horribly out of tune. She looks over, curious as well, and he says, do you see what I had to deal with? And she nods slowly, and then looking at like her own guys, like a little confused, then looks at Wherein, and she looks cross. Like,
Rarian would look down ashamed. He doesn't. He can only bear her gaze for like half a second, and then he looks down.
he looks back. She looks back at him and says, never mind. I've had my own disputes. It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter. We're together. Everything's fine. He says, I know. Mother, I came to see you, and I came to save you. I know that I failed, but I walked the whole way here to see you. She says, you did? He says, well, maybe on horseback a bit, but I did walk the whole way here to see you. I mean, I even have those, the boots that were specially made, because you know I care. I don't know if one was also rolling that, or if he's a little distracted with his own little tomfoolery going on.
I'm trying to roll 20 is not working for me. Just give me a second.
Oof.
We both win. I'm a daddy's dice it.
One second, because I have to... There we go. I open roll everything for him. So anyways, I'm open rolling everything for him. So it's one of those things where, what's your name? Wherein, you're of course a little embarrassed sort of what's going on. One, you're a little distracted for what's your little tomfoolery that you're doing, but not so much so that you can't tell that he's, being very specific with her. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting it off of him. He's just talking to his mom. You're actually getting it off of her, who you understands better. Like, she seems to be like noticing that he's saying something that might be different than the actual words that he's saying.
One immediately, in his own voice, snaps to the guards and says, back to her cell. They're doing coded messaging. We'll get to the bottom of this.
And so the guards would immediately go over and grab them. And she's like, no, wait, please, stop. And, but I imagine the guards don't listen to her, and they will grab her and start pulling her away.
As they're pulling her away, one says, one chance. Explain now.
To who?
And he says it to her, and he places his hand on her shoulder, and he's going
Rairen's going to grab the wrist, and he pulls it off. There is no need for that.
He's going to cast it anyway.
Okay.
So it's one of those, because he puts the hand on the wrist, you can easily just kind of, you're way stronger. You can easily pull it free and cast the spell, as you usually do.
He casts interrogation.
Mm-hmm, of course. And as you're going to bloop it in chat, in which case they take damage if they lie, correct?
No, if they do not answer, I get it's a -4 to bluff, more or less.
And you ask this to her.
Yeah, she does get a saving throw against it, though.
So you say you have one chance. Now you have to ask your question.
I did ask. I said, what did I say? Explain to me what that was about or some shit. I don't know.
Explain what that meant.
I was a natty one, so definitely worked on her. So explain what that meant. She grits her teeth, bites her tongue. You hear him growl like, hands off my fucking mother! He's like getting pissed over there. As you can see, like the marks starting to appear on her. And she says, he was trying to tell me something. We're an old and a tight family.
Explain.
You can see she's like biting her lip. She doesn't want to say anything. And she shakes her head and looks back at her son and says, and you can imagine, even though you can't see her face, you can tell that there's an apologetic look in her eyes because she can't resist the urge because it's magically compelled. She says, he came here intentionally. He was captured with fights to free me.
And?
he knows he failed. And so there's only one other way he can take me from your control. And he shakes his head. He's like, fuck. It's time to go home. And you can see the boots that he's wearing start to glow for a moment. And then the boots are left behind. And he's gone.
Do we not get a reaction?
The
For him activating a magic item.
I mean, unfortunately, he's across the cell from where you guys are. You're at the door where she is.
I have spells.
You do have spells, sure.
So it's...
I would argue massively that, you know, like when we took him prisoner, he would have been stripped of his possessions.
Of his boots? Listen,
we did strip his mom.
Remember Remember how I took the mother and father?
Yeah, I remember. And I remember you would have cast Detect Magic as well. Luckily, Nistel's mystical aura makes that hard to find. Mm-hmm.
So there's no somatic component to activating this.
No. Magic. Well, the component is the words. Activating for an item like this is the words, and it's actually not a magical item. Technically, it's a spell effect. It's actually a spell that was cast on him that has a lasting effect. It's just the boots are what they used to. It was the item that the spell was cast on. You can roll a spellcraft to know what the spell was. I'll gladly inform you if you beat the DC. That's a really good roll. You actually would instantly know what the spell is. It's actually a powerful spell, something that you can't typically find in a place like a Dir. It's called Refuge. Refuge is a spell that allows you to transport yourself across vast distances instantly by simply activating it after it's already been cast. Pulls you back to safety. Unfortunately, it only works on one person. Unfortunately, that person has to have possession of whatever it is that does it. Almost think like the Wizards Tri-Tournament Cup or whatever it is, acting as whatever key, port key or whatever they used it as. Imagine it being like that, but one target. Which I think that does too, but they touched it at the same time in Harry Potter.
To make use of the item, the subject speaks a command word at the same time that it rends or breaks the item, a standard action. When this is done, the individual and all objects it's wearing are instantly transported to your abode. Can he break or tear them while he's chained?
So he is chained, but again, it's one of those things where, like I said, it was cast on the boots. It could have been something inside the boot. It could have been anything like that. So you just know that he cast it. The flash of magic came from the boots itself, and that aside from the boots being left behind, he is gone. Jake is probably cursing to himself while muted.
No, I just said it's alright. We're getting cuffed. Sweet, don't worry about that.
Okay.
No, but you see, one snaps to Rayron instantly, and he looks at Rayron with just anger in his face, and he says, "You are too trusting of these people." And he turns and he says, "Guards, throw her in the cell," and he walks out.
They would take her.
Have any
so
honor.
He turns at that and he says, "I don't have any honor."
We beat that man on a field of battle. We beat him. We crushed his army. Did we have any need for what that was? This man came all this way for his mother, and you taunted him. We already taunted him. We flaunted the fact that his mother was captured, and yet you felt the need to rub it in. Why? Some sort of sadism? You think that's in the name of Rogar?
He looks at you and he says, "He would kill you in your sleep. You delude yourself."
And I am better than him, and so are you, one. There is no
One looks at her, spits at the ground, and says, "These people should be dead." And he turns and continues walking.
She's going to be back in her cell at this point. Probably right after the spit. She gets finished getting pulled into her cell. She doesn't fight them. She doesn't fight the guards at all. She saw everything that transpired. She just goes along with them, kind of like dragging her across the floor. She doesn't walk with them, doesn't fight against it. I don't want to say she's catatonic, but she's also not really putting up much of an emotional reaction. They shut the cell door behind her. So she's in there with her quills and her inks and her books and whatnot, but in there alone otherwise. There's still the other prisoner that's here, the one that you guys caught beforehand, the assassin. And then there's you down here with the guards, Rayron. Obviously, one had stormed upstairs.
Rayron will say, "Watch her carefully," and then he will storm after one.
Sir, sorry. Should we take the stuff from the cell or leave it?
Leave it.
Okay.
Just make sure she's safe.
No,
I don't want her doing anything foolish.
nods. You hear the cell door open and close behind you as you make your way up the stairs.
He'd follow one. Come to the
You'd
map
be
room.
following.
He'd follow one.
One would have been. How far ahead of was I? Not long.
I mean, you move a bit quicker than he does, but not so much. So it's both your
I
kingdoms.
was.
He knows your typical stop-off grounds. Like, oh, man, I'm gonna go to the Temple of Froga. He's like, motherfucker, I'm already there. Grain, let's go.
Wherein would call out, seeing one's torp bump.
Of course, you would see him in the not far off, but you can call after him because you only went just moments after him. It's not like it's like it's not like he ran either. He stomped off. You chased after. So go ahead.
Come to the map room.
Why?
I want to explain something.
Don't think to lecture me, Rayon.
I will lecture you, and you will enjoy it when I tell you. Come.
You get a puzzled look, and he turns and he walks to the map room.
Raven would have gone there ahead, and he'll be waiting. The crow on his shoulder, or Raven, whatever, on his shoulder.
You'll notice that one's hand is on his axe, but it's not in a threatening way to you. It's in a angry, like it's his. Yeah. He walks in, shuts the door.
Yeah. There are times when you must measure the atrocities that you commit. I'm not saying that what you just did was an atrocity, but it was not a good act or a needed act. We had already won. We've beaten that man. His father, God knows the fate that awaits him. His mother is a captive. His army was beaten and broken. He returns after disobeying direct orders and ashamed after losing a crippling defeat. I am not too soft. One, I'm soft when it requires or when I can be. That goop, the slime that was on the river, do you know what that was? Who caused that?
We both know who caused that.
We did, because we didn't deal with it. It left the keep, it followed us, and it spread all up the river and caused part of the problem we're in now. Do you know what that was made of? The souls of the mole. I made a deal with the devil that we met in the keep. He removed every single soul, all of it, and took them all. And in trade, the problem has resolved. I did that. That is the price I'm willing to pay for our country. There are times to be soft, and times when you must be cruel. I pray that you find more times to be soft in the future. I see now every time I act cruelly, the weight of this hanging around my neck.
See one, he kind of looks both angry and confused, and he says, I don't understand the magnitude of what you have done or its ramifications. Although, Rayron, you made an executive decision without consulting me or Valoran. Do you know how angry it has made me that I brought the slaver, and I'm not going to say the word because Scott will drop like 5 viewers, but And he says, I brought them back here for information. She should not be alive. They should not have had the chance to talk, but you and Valorum outvoted me. You have no idea the anger behind the... And he just kind of catches himself and he says, I am trying, but these people do not deserve it.
I know. I didn't tell you or Valrin because I damned 10,000 souls. They have gone to a place that I saw but a glimpse of. All I saw was heat, fire, and screaming. I told you so that you would not have to bear the weight of my sins. If this woman out there is not worthy of forgiveness, not even a small amount that she might live her life in captivity, then how should I fare?
Are there any checks I could make religion-wise to, I don't know, think about Rayron's soul and the afterlife?
What happens in the afterlife, people don't really know. Just like in the real world, it's not common knowledge by any stretch of the imagination. Even those that are devout of their own faith believe what they believe their own faith tells them happens. You know what I mean? Those that do honor in the name of Vroga join Vroga in the eternal battle afterwards. You know what I mean? Those that are do honor in the name of Lady Aravel join her in a peaceful servitude afterwards, only engaging in war where and when is needed, and so on and so forth. What actually happens, meta knowledge to the soul and whatnot, that stuff is only about as known as we know in real life. You know, the only thing I can assure you is, unlike real life, there definitely is a soul in this game. Real life, we don't know one way or the other, so there's more assurance there, I guess.
I don't know what will happen to you, Rayron, but you should never have made that decision alone. You are not alone. I've shown you many times.
Well, wouldn't have done to lose another friend.
One puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, I am sorry, Rayron.
As am I. I know that you... Yeah, just slap! I know that you have made many sacrifices for us to get to where we are. You have held yourself in check many times. I know that. But when people are our prisoners, mistreating them, we saw that in her cave, in her refuge. We're better than that. At least you and Valrin are better than that. I've done what needed to be done, and I've made my peace with that as much as I can.
One shakes his head and he says, I had something now, I forgot. He just more or less tells you, Rayron, do not speak of yourself that way. We know not what is to come, but we know what must be done. Let us focus on that.
We do not know what is to come, no. But for those souls, I have a good idea. And I fear they did not deserve. That said, I have lied to you. That was not my intention. I did it to protect my friends. As such, I will tell you the other things that I know. Phaedril, go. He'll point to a section on the floor.
The bird jumps and does one quick little flap and drops on the ground. Hops twice to kind of get to a more comfortable spot.
Reveal to us your true form.
Just as like a screech. You can imagine it just means, are you sure?
Show one. We can trust him.
It does another screech, but this time you don't just see the screech of a typical crow. Or raven, sorry. You can see this raven is in fact a raven. But God, is it similar to a crow. A much more ghastly creature than a typical raven is, right? I don't know if you've ever seen both of them in real life. But a crow is just more bleak. It's darker, more oily looking than a raven is. It looks more sinister than a raven typically does. And you can see fangs inside its beaked mouth. It lets out a screech twice in this almost like slightly more revealed nature form. Almost like it's a bird that has like a bit of a demonic nature to it. And then, as it screeches a third time, you notice in almost the blink of an eye, a very quick transformation from a toothed beak to the creature to an imp, which very quickly to an imp that sits before you. An imp, which is small and dark red, tiny, about the size of a cat, and dark red in color. It has a bit of a horned head, otherwise almost has like a monkeyish face, sharp angled ears, bat-like wings that protrude from its back, and not a forked, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a pike tail, right, that whips around behind its back. And it stands there before you with its reptilian body and its intelligent eyes, looking up at you and says, Oh, sorry. Yes, so we're revealing who I am now. Okay. Hello, one.
This is Phaedril. He is part of the bargain. He will give us knowledge and information and serve me.
I will do that, of course. And there are more than one way to serve you. I can serve you by serving your friends as well, if you'd like, of course. One, if that's the name you want me to call you. Because we both know that's not the name written on the contract.
Less of your poison. You've revealed yourself now, that is fine. Return to my shoulder and resume your guise.
Or perhaps something else. And it actually will take 2 steps over towards you. It's again, it's like the size of a cat standing on its hind legs, right? It takes two steps over towards you and reaches up towards the hilt of the new weapon that it has at your side.
He wouldn't stop it.
Okay, it reaches up and with
You
much.
see one kind of like pulling his axe out slowly.
This sword would be at best a great sword to this thing, if not even bigger in size, almost like a buster sword to this thing. So it draws out the sword that is inside you, but not without a lot of effort, and the thing clanging on the ground by its feet, and says, A sword was recently discovered inside of a temple that I found beneath Haude Gwenh during the time that I spent there looking after what was going on. I can tell you that this sword, which came from the Fire Temple, has the ability to do many things, and one of the things that it can do is be reforged while maintaining its properties. Your axe is weak. This is not.
Which temple?
The Temple of Fire beneath Haude Gwenh, beneath specifically the bank that they have there.
What can it do? I looked at it, but I couldn't discern the abilities. I saw that it gives off a large amount of heat, but...
It is currently, now that it's out of the thing, it's spent a couple of moments in open air. It's breathing. It's starting to like breathe the air, and it ignites the air around it, and it catches flame. No, it doesn't quite catch flame. What it does, it gives off like I said beforehand. There's almost like the iron that it's crafted out of, the steel that's crafted out of, has almost like a gold or almost like brass like veins kind of running through it. Those are giving off a bright glow, a glow that would actually give off a bit of a light, like a torch would. Not quite as much as like a candle would of that size, right? Giving off of it. And you can clearly tell that it's giving off heat, like you had just said. It says, well, it does seem to burn as it cuts, and if you use it the right way, it can cauterize as well, but it does so much more than that. It can ignite. It can ignite so much. Many things can be ignited, like one's heart. and it looks over at one. It was a gift that I gave to Wherein because Wherein signed a contract, but Wherin's heart doesn't like the fire the way that yours does. It ignites your heart, gives it burning strength. You can use that to your advantage.
Have you or any of your kind tainted this sword?
I've done no such thing. I found it. I literally found it there.
Alright, let's go.
You say, all right, let's go. What does he step on the creature?
Oh!
I can do that. So I can detect whether the sword has... no, only outsiders, so never mind. That won't do it. No, as well as lingering effects caused by their gifts. Presence and spells. So I can detect whether the sword has any fiendish corruption.
I mean, you can detect there is a bit of a fiendish corruption on it, but it could be the fact that it's in proximity or was a gift literally from this creature. Whether or not the weapon itself has any fiendish nature to it would probably require a bit more of a deeper dive to it than the simple detection spell, especially considering the circumstance. By deeper dive, there's other ways to find stuff out. If you're looking specifically at magic, there's things like legends lore and stuff like that, which have like pretty comprehensive deep dives. Usually identify can help to discern stuff like that as well, depending on what it is that you're looking at. So
I do not feel that the sword itself exudes a significant evil, unlike our little friend here.
he looks at you and he looks at you with a smile like you complimented him.
It bears only the slightest taint akin to his fingerprints.
I assure you that this was in fact found there. Now, again, this ignites your blood on fire and ignites it in a way that you would, I believe, enjoy. It does other things too. For instance, were you to use this to ignite another thing, that thing becomes combustible to the point where it explodes on impact. There's many features that come from something found in a temple of fire. These are, of course, the old gods. The gods that nobody pays mind to anymore.
As much
I'm
as I hate
confused.
as much as I hate to suggest you should take a gift from a devil, I think it might be worth it. He would pick up the scabbard and sheath the sword, lift it out of Phaedral's hands, and place it on the table.
Okay. And once you sheath it, again, a couple moments later, the glow, because it's been like drowned out from the heat, from the open air, drowns out and the heat drops pretty quickly afterwards. Kind of like how aluminum foil drops heat very quickly afterwards.
How long will this take to be reforged?
Shakes its head and says, "You know a smith?"
She would be eager to work.
It's designed to be malleable. It's designed to be reforged. It's designed to be used.
If this is to be remade and you gift this to me, Rayron, because it is yours. If it is to be reforged to be used on the battlefield, I'm afraid I won't be able to accompany you to meet with Leon right away. I will be there while it is being forged, and I will pray. I will cast spells of Rogar. But this will depend on how long it takes, which is a conversation with Hinta.
I think you should. It would do well for you to have a powerful weapon to match your countenance. Also, as lackluster as it is, take it as a way of apology for my lying to you.
He doesn't really seem as phased as you maybe, I don't know if you were hoping him to be. He looks like conflicted, but you're not sure exactly why. So you said take it as a way of apology. He just says, nods and says, "Thank you. We should be honest with each other from here on out.
We should. I don't believe I have any more secrets to share.
But I do. I told you I had more information that I procured while I was there. You've been rather occupied with activities of late. So, why don't I inform you of what I've found while I spent time in Haude Gwenh?
Wherein would take a seat at the map table and motion to the map.
He hops up on the table as well and says, well, first and foremost, let's say that, as I said, the temple does exist beneath the bank itself. The bank is less of a bank now and more of a fortress, as there is chaos in the streets of Haude Gwenh. There is infighting. The military that is currently there is being used as, well, a city guard to keep people in order now that things have gone awry with the deal that you have made. Day in and day out, people want this war to be over. Those that want it to end because they don't agree with it and are fighting against it. Those that want it to end because they just want to be victorious so they can go back to their homes. Those that are fighting for the army don't necessarily believe in the cause, but they are looking for a new way to live their life in peace, looking to crush you so it can be done. I think that there can be much deceit and much deception and much demoralization that can be sown there. However, to do so, you would have to utilize, and he reaches over, and it's so big compared to him because he's so small compared to you guys. The castle that represents the keep underneath Haude Gwenh grabs it and hoists it up a little bit, which does nothing, of course. Hoists it up a little bit and says, "Someone on the inside with a banner on the outs, so that you can sneak your way into the city and do what you can do. There is much to be done. I mean, I can do what I can, but let's be serious. I have limitations. Oh, limitations that someone else does not," he says, looking at Wherein full on.
It's a possibility. Well done. You did well, Phaedra. One, it's important to note there's several other conditions and boons attached to this deal. I gave the devils a large amount of souls. They've agreed to not enter the borders of Adir but while one of the chosen lives, unless explicitly instructed otherwise.
I believe actually
They've
it's while one of the chosen or their descendants that hold their position.
Thank you, Phaedra.
You might have a descendant soon, Rayron.
It chuckles a bit too much to that.
Another good example of doing what is necessary. They have also offered 3 boons. The boons have to be agreed of what is appropriate by us and them. But one could consider the appropriate boon for 10,000 souls to be rather powerful. Phaedra, 10,000 souls. How much would that net you in the world that you are from? What sort of honor, prestige, power, money, wealth? What is it that you crave?
Those souls were not given to me. But that is a considerable number. As the tides flow, things do not tend to come our way. And that was a boon indeed, and a boon that shall be returned, as was promised, 3-fold.
Now you know. Those boons are claimable by any 3 of us, should I die.
It need not be agreed upon by all three of you to enact it, though. One of you need make the decision, and we must agree to it on our end.
Indeed.
Now, please, may I sow chaos in the city? Chaos is not something I particularly enjoy, but the outcome. I wish to see Valoran succeed. I like it here.
Is he talking about using one of the boons now?
It's warm.
No, he's talking about him going off and using his power.
He's being pretty open for you to interpret how you'd like, as devils often do.
Very well. Sow chaos in Haude Gwenh. Assist the rebels where you can. We want them to win, if possible.
It nods, and it actually produces a parchment that you've seen once before, with 3 blank lines at the very
Oh, it's
bottom
talking
of it.
about using a bone.
And it
Oh
says-
my god.
And it
I'm
says,
not sure about that.
It says, as I said, there is very little that I could do inside that city. But certainly something that can be done by someone else. This war is so close to being won. Why waste all your resources? Let's let them destroy themselves, yes? Bring peace so that we can take over? Well, I won't be here when you finish taking over, I imagine. But a deal would be yours. And once I'm booted, I'm sure I'll never return again.
One would look to Rayron and just give him that kind of like look, like he's trying to scam you, boy.
I think we will see how we go with conventional means for now, Phaedril.
Pulls the thing back and it just kind of like disappears and says, I actually prefer it's that way. There's nothing like good old-fashioned war and bloodshed. Sure, there's casualties on both sides, but at least there's entertainment along the while.
Besides, I've grown rather fond of you. I'm thinking I might keep you.
He looks a little disgusted. Ugh, serving of a human?
Yes. Perhaps my descendants as well.
Its eyes actually widen, like, because these creatures live eternally in theory, right? Like,
It's now Rayron's turn to give him a devilish grin.
and it's like, very well then. I'll be around when you need me. And he, and as he like hops off the table, he hops down into a battered dog, like a hound, kind of like a wild dog look. Actually, you've seen this dog before. It's what brought the sword to Ray on the battlefield immediately before you met what's his face, Cussy Mick, Save Motherstein, and he trots out of the chamber.
Now you know.
Well, you did what you thought was right. But we must work together now. Let us... What do you want to... Would you like to speak to Valoran?
I'm not sure he would ever forgive me for this.
One kind of chuckles and says, but as you're always telling me, is the martyr not about forgiveness?
Yes, I spoke with an advocate of hers actually on the night that General Jaeger died. I prayed to the martyr. She said that I was not worthy of forgiveness at the time, that I walked a dark path, and that I could yet turn from it if I was careful.
You could. You can do whatever you think is right. But know this, Rayron. we would accept you with open arms.
Thank you, one. I'm glad that I did this on my own. That Valorin and you, the chosen, will reap the rewards, and only I will suffer any punishment. I made peace with that when I made the deal, and I am proud to have served our country. And I will continue to do so until I draw my last breath. Let's hope
Not
that's a
on your
long
own,
time
Reverend.
from now.
Okay.
Wanda says, you're not on your own. And he says, we'll figure it out.
With that ending, one of the things that you can do is the smithy is more or less done being rebuilt. I should say, you already paid for it. When you bring the weapon to, I think, not Hinta, Hina, or whatever her name is, the hyena, whatever her name is, that is the smithy.
What is her name?
She is no. It's written in here somewhere. She is
Hansa.
Hansa. Yeah, here it is. So Hansa. So when it is, whatever it is that you my apologies. Bring the weapon to her. She doesn't know what the metal is. She can identify it. So she puts it to her anvil with a hammer, and with one whack, disforms it. After getting it appropriately heated, she gets it. She disforms it. Like, she literally realizes she's going to be able to recraft this thing in 1 day's time. So if Wherein wishes to head south to meet with the general immediately, you'd be literally a day and a half behind him. Which would be perfectly fine.
Yep, and just so we know, one would be casting Bless on the thing, and also he would be guidancing her. And I mean, he'd be doing it constantly, suffering fatigue, exhaustion, whatever he had to do to keep that divine energy going into it.
Oh, absolutely, of course.
He wants this, you know,
of course.
A weapon of the fiery light.
What are you saying, Neil? You were going to say something?
I think Roran would wait to travel with.
Perfect. Then we're going to flash forward.
He would go and pray.
Sure. That's fine. And we're going to flash forward a whole day.
Temple.
So that's one. That's half. Then 1, 2, 3 is where the riders of Erin would get to before you guys even leave the city. The free folk actually travel too. The free folk are actually going to make their lands, their town here. They're actually going to kind of set their town to sit in that exact spot, but then they're going to split off into an army that then goes south to join the rest of the army, which is boop, boop. So they kind of come here as well. Vroga's army is able to join the main army as well. So once again, we're just kind of stacking shields at the moment. So everybody's kind of joining up there. That's after the 1 day. When the day that you guys leave, you guys actually leave here, are you going to leave with Rayron's riders, or are you going to leave just the two of you and a couple of basic guards for escort?
I think we should bring the full force because we're looking at like we're looking at next session dropping the hammer.
Okay. And we're gonna go
what are we going to
live
do
with
about defending our own? You know,
I think given the distribution of forces and the information of the free folk, I'm not worried that their armies are close to like Reed or Haude Gwenh.
Okay. So we're going to come back next session, and when we come back next session, a couple of things are going to happen. We're going to have you guys meeting with the general, having conversations there. You guys are going to have next session. The riders of Erin are going to get to Astrad, as long as another day will pass for you to get to the general, right? So you'll actually have a combat taking place next session, which will be very exciting. You'll also gather some information about Haude Gwenh, depending on whether or not somebody uses a scout report or whatever they're called. How much information you get, but you'll get information from Haude Gwenh as well, and we'll kind of see where things go. I'm really excited. Next session, things pick up even more. So excited! All right, you guys have any last notes, comments, anything that you want to say before we do our outro?
Probably just that the people of Kurzfall know in the event that they are like. People come to attack the town or whatever to retreat to the castle, and the guards know to activate the map room and try and get everyone out.
That's a good plan.
That's the
actually.
procedure.
Wait,
And barricade the castle.
hold on. What? You say that again because I think I misunderstood what you were saying. Go.
If Kurzfall comes under attack, the people are to retreat to the castle, and the guards are to begin.
Oh, to the
transporting
mountains?
People between keeps. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have to send word to the mountains, which, by the way, you can handle, Neil. If you wanted to handle that, I think you have to go, right? Since you can't spare the extra little RP time, can you? Can you? Because are you live in 45 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So
I've not heard anything yet, but I think so.
Yeah. If you haven't heard anything, that means you're live, right? So then we'll have to handle that next session.
Maybe I have heard anything actually.
Okay, well,
Yeah, well,
Jake's like, I could keep playing for forever, but
I just muted it. That's why.
Okay, but you guys are live in 45 minutes, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll handle that next week. A quick little RP you can have with that keep over there, because I was waiting for you guys to interact with them for an interaction with you. Cool. So why don't we put that on our list of to-do things for next week? Otherwise, we're going to say thank you to everybody. You guys know that Neil is going live in 45 minutes, 43 minutes, whatever it is, over on twitch.tv/AllYourRant. So go check on their homebrew world over there with their multi-campaign system that they have going over there as well, which is wicked exciting, all played in 5e. We're going to raid on Funny One in just a moment, because I believe he's still live, correct? So we're going to raid on Funny One for funsies.
He's live and I'm funny.
I actually want to keep streaming myself, but unfortunately it's probably a bad idea for me to do so, because I've been told by
some good energy.
No, it's just what happened was a YouTuber literally popped in on my stream last night and was like, yo, why is there a disparity between you two? And I was like, oh yeah. So they're like, I'm addicted, I want to see more. I'm like, oh, we're probably like 8 sessions behind, 9 sessions. I should probably catch that up for them.
Scott,
So
you naughty boy. Stop playing Kingdom 2 Crowns. We've already got 3 crowns right here that need to be seen by everyone.
So I should go work on that and maybe eventually finish my office so I can get out of this room and organize everything finally.
You should do that, because your cough's getting worse. And at your age, Scott, you only have so much resistance to pneumonia.
Moving on. He looks like he froze like that. It's pretty awesome. He did. Oh no, he didn't. Oh,
No, of course I didn't.
I was like, that's a good
I'm just memeing.
So anyways, yeah. So let's get out of here. And if anybody wants to join Patreon and add an advisor to the group, I'm going to be doing.
We need more advisors, guys. You know, this is the 2019 Christmas advisor drive. All right, we are at war. We need you to submit advisors to advise us and tell us, don't commit more horrible atrocities. All right. All of our advisors are morally grey. The only one who had some good features, he died and he brought back unshackled by the chains of morality.
What I love too is over on the one of the Patreon chats I have in the Discord, some of the people were asking like, "What's with that Goliath? Why is he a douche?" And other people are like, "Oh, this is what happened." Like, yeah, but why is he a douche? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. So it was just funny because some of the people actually understood and got to explain it to other people, and it was just nice little hidden tidbits happening. So kind of funny little stuff. And the PCs get to be like, I don't get it. All right, awesome. Let's flip the flop out and go. So good night, everybody. Thank you so much. There's no Lost Initiative tonight. The cast is meeting to discuss our next campaign, which I think Mike is doing an announcement for today, tomorrow, next day, something like that. But we will be live next Wednesday on Lost Initiative with a character creation stream. So look out for that one. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later. Bye. Bye. Why is this not working?
Do you need help learning how to stream, Scott?
No, just OBS is being really weird. They're like, I don't know. OBS is dumb. All right, bye.